Hey, welcome to New Jump City, everybody, where we recap the week in American and Japanese sequential art. I am your host, Christian, the unbiased king, Espinal, and joining me through Discord, as always, it is the man, the myth, the legend, the tank top sage. It's Joshua, Gangsta Time Cole.
Well, it's called Partner, but it should be called Gangsta Time.
What's good, Chris? What up, everybody listening? It's good to be back.
Oh, yeah, and guess
Good
who's
to be
back
home.
as well? It is Edgelord Big News Brian.
なんというビッグニュース
Up nerds.
Yeah, we're back. Sorry we missed a week. In case you guys didn't catch the pre-show, I moved, and scheduling in general just got a little wacky for us last week. So we're here today, a little late still, but we're gonna make it work. We're very excited. We got a lot of manga to talk about, so let's not waste any time. Let's get into plugs. You can find me at the Chris Espinal on Twitter and Instagram. Joshua Cole, where can they find you?
At JD Cole_37. That's on Instagram. And I'm at New Jump City Josh. That's on X.
Oh yeah,
Formerly
Brian.
known as Twitter.
Oh, Brian.
You can find me at b.esd on both Instagram and Twitter. And if you ever want to catch me when I'm streaming, you can find me at twitch.tv/itspunchline.
Damn right. You can follow the show itself at New Jump City on Twitter and Instagram. Email us at newjumpcitypod@gmail.com where we, with any questions, suggestions, anything you guys want us to talk about. And we'll answer them on the pre-show chat show. Usually we did it, but we were running long on time this time. But, shoot us an email and we will get to it on the next pre-show chat show. If you don't want to email us, you can also comment under the YouTube video that we put up every week now. Please do keep us alive in the algorithm. Like, share, subscribe to the YouTube channel. You could also subscribe to us on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. We're on that shit. So look us up. I think that's it. Spoiler alerts ahead. Let's get into the show. One Piece. This is One Piece chapter 1116, Inner Conflict. We start off with a little chapter story, title story, Yamato's Golden Harvest Surrogate Pilgrimage. And, we see that Yamato has been going on a bit of a journey. He's wanted to travel around Wano all his life, and he's finally getting around to doing that. And on the way, he's going to run an errand. Huh?
Odin.
On the way, he's going to run an errand for Kinemon, dropping off a sword at the young Don. What was his name? Damn. How did I forget the young Don's name? Yasui, yes. Over at his grave. And in this cover page, Yamato is picking up some medicine and dumplings from Utsuru, Kinemon's wife. And we get into the chapter proper. Last we left on One Piece, we have learned that, not only is the world going to be sunken into the sea at some point in the future, it has already sunk once. And this has already been established, obviously, through little foreshadowing things, the very concept of Water 7, which is a city that's constantly sinking, the old Wano that we've seen. And even in Jinbei's cover story, we actually saw that he ran across ancient ruins at the seafloor. So this has been building for a while. So, even though it's still a twist, it's surprising. Oda has been low-key hinting at all of this. But not only that, he also reveals that the disaster that sunk the world during the Void Century is man-made and is still possible today. And likely by the three ancient weapons that we already know, Pluton, Uranus, and not my anus. And Poseidon. So yeah, that's where we left off. The world is still reacting to all of this. We see Emu overhearing this. The chapter starts off with everybody's like, "What? The weapons that sank the world to the sea are still going around? What's going on? The war from 800 years is still ongoing." Emo is looking at a picture of Lily, Nefeltari Lily, who existed a long time ago. But we also see, little shots of Alabasta as this is happening. They're currently holding a funeral for Cobra, who died recently and was killed by the Five Elders. Igaram is very sad because Vivi is missing. And Vegapunk explains that he owes the world a deep apology, but he needs to understand why, because he wanted to create an energy that would power the industry of the world for a long time. And though it is still incomplete, he found it, and that is the Mother Flame. But a little piece of the Mother Flame has been stolen and has been used. Well, we learn later. It's going to be used to power an ancient weapon. So we'll get more into that later. We get this little scene in between of what's her face, Stussy, talking with Edison, and Edison is desperately trying to get her to leave because Nostromo literally cut the Fabrio phase not the Labo phase, like the bottom layer of the Labo phase, in half. And he managed to free not only the CP5, the other Cypher Pole agents, but we also see that the Boa, the S-Snake Seraphim is down there. But yeah, Edison is trying to plead with Stussy to get her to leave, but she asks if he can free Kaku because, they might be punished for their actions. I won't let him go after the Straw Hats, but I know the first thing he'll do if he's released, but I can't let him die here, because Kaku was still her friend, even though she technically betrayed them.
Damn.
So that's nice of her, at least. We get a couple shots around the world. I think this is the Okama. No, this is the Revolutionaries hideout, where as we listen to Vegapunk continue on talking about how the flame, that after the piece of the Mother Flame was stolen, the sky over Lulusia shone with a powerful light and was destroyed. So he's like, as a scientist and with the utmost pride in its development, I can tell you this: nothing but the Mother Flame could have created so much energy. So, this is like the first time certain kingdoms are even hearing about this. We see that King Isabello from the Dressrosa fame is like, Lucia's gone. Go figure that shit out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's not looking good. And Vegapunk apologizes to the world because of his invention, the Mother Flame. An entire country was basically eradicated. And we see a shot in Wano where Momonosuke is like, wait, does that mean Pluton is? And Kingdom Hunt cuts him off. She's like, we're not supposed to talk about that. We get a little shot of Crocodile listening in, and we see that in the past there were 3 ancient weapons, and Joy Boy attempted to preserve them for the future. And he's like, why would he do that? Why would he do that? Why would he preserve such dangerous things? Have we not sunk far enough? Who is the true evil here, and who fights the good fight? The day when the day will come when all the answers are laid bare. And he says that, I warn you, that moment will happen when we reach the very precipice of the world's drowning. So, it's a good timeline there. So he says that the Void Mystery is still ripe with mystery, but there are some people who have learned the truth. And he reveals that the King of the Pirates crew knows exactly what the hell this whole thing is. Akainu is pissed off. He's so pissed he destroys his cigar. His mouth is smoking.
Yeah.
He's like, you're really gonna tell them everything, Vegapunk? Which implies that Akainu knows. And I think that also further implies that Sengoku knows. Because he was Fleet Admiral before. So I don't know if Akainu knows, then why wouldn't Sengoku know? But I don't know. That's neither here nor there. So yeah, everybody's just like, wait, how do pirates know this? What the hell? What's going on? York reveals that she was the one who stole the Mother Flame. And he's like, wait, how did you know? I stopped synchronized. You couldn't have known. I know that you're terrible at lying. And you were shocked when you found out. So he's like, you received information about Lulusia. And then she realized, like, he didn't know. He just kind of fucking put the pieces together when Lulusia went down. But he's like, wait, what? This timeline doesn't add up. How did you know about the government's response? So, Vegapunk seems to have known that this whole thing was going to happen at some point, is what we're implying, somehow, some way. And, she still like is putting things together in her head. And she's like, in that case, I've been wrong. He wouldn't do anything as tepid as just hiding the transponder snail. And then she just gets an idea and she calls the 5 elders and are like, I know where the transponder snail is. And she tells them that the transponder snail is under the protection of the Iron Giant of the Fabrio phase, which a fleet of Buster Call admirals have not been able to bring down. So that's not looking good for them. The chapter ends in this last page where we are transitioning over to Sabaody, where where Rayleigh and Shaki are. And Vegapunk poses the question is that if the Roger pirates knew about this whole thing, then why didn't they act on it? And Rayleigh is drunk at this point. He is like on the bar.
Shit-faced.
Yeah, shit-faced. And he's like, you're telling them too much, Vegapunk. Don't be a fool. Us old folks should keep our secrets. Don't rob the youngins of all the fun. Right, Roger? And that's where the chapter ends. I feel like there's a lot to dissect there. But Josh, what did you think about One Piece chapter 1116?
This was a content-packed chapter.
Oh yeah.
As Vegapunk has been continuing this message. I'm gonna go to where I think what made me think the most. Talked about it a little bit on the pre-show already about how I felt like that if the pirate crew knew about this, why have they been so passive as far as doing something to combat the world government maybe, or just fight the world flooding, right? And I don't know, this response from Rayleigh makes it seem super passive, like, oh man, like just let the kids kind of figure it out. But I think after our conversation, there was a really good point made about that they're, I guess as Roger said himself, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, that they just weren't in the right time to do something about it. Gold Roger didn't have a lot of time left, and the rest of the pirate crew, I mean, they're really old. And you could argue that they have done a lot to impact, more than subtle changes, like helping Luffy get into the Grand Line, or helping Luffy learn how to use hockey. I guess everything has been with helping Luffy, but they had to know like his fruit meant was more than just some like gum fruit. They probably knew Luffy was next. And well, not Gold Roger because he wasn't alive to see it, but shit, Shanks definitely knows, and I think the rest of them too. I don't know. I don't think the dude with Laboon knew that Luffy was gonna be him, but I think maybe he just felt it, and there's that whole fate aspect to the series
You mean
too.
Crocus?
So I'm just Crocus. Yes, that's what I mean. Crocus and Laboon.
You think he just
Weird.
vibe checked Luffy?
Yeah.
It was just a vibe check.
Yeah, he definitely vibe
That was
checked
too
him because
early
at
for
the
Oda to
end,
know all of this.
at the like after that arc, as he was sailing away, I think Crocus made a reference to how Luffy kind of reminded him of Roger. So I think there was definitely a little bit of a vibe check there. But
You think people are going to be hunting down Rayleigh now because of this?
well, they know where he is, so I think like if they wanted to get Rayleigh, they would, but they don't want that smoke. It seems.
Vegapunk just snitched all over them, bro.
Nah, Blackbeard might come after Rayleigh.
No, Blackbeard would
was too
scare
scared.
Rayleigh.
The dark against the light.
No, Blackbeard
Not
was scared of
anymore.
Rayleigh. Rayleigh pulled up to Blackbeard on the Isle of Women on Amazon Lily. Remember
But
that?
maybe he goes
When was
after Scopper Gabon, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Scopper is the last of the Roger pirates that we meet later on. He may not be on Elbaf,
Or he pulls up to Wano looking for Odin shit because he probably knew that Odin was there.
but who?
Yeah.
Scopper?
Like maybe
I don't think Blackbeard is
No,
scared to fight
um,
Rayleigh anymore.
No, it was literally like recently. It was like a few days ago before he fought Law. You may not remember it, but it was a moment where Blackbeard was fighting Boa and Kobe, and he showed up, and like Blackbeard ran away.
though if it was one-on-one, then he probably wouldn't have been as scared. But maybe it was because of how many enemies he would have to fight at the same time, including Rayleigh.
Nah,
He was like,
it was
right,
his,
Come on, it has to happen.
it was Rayleigh's hockey specifically that like freaked him the fuck out because he was winning. He beat Boa and he wasn't gonna lose to Kobe. But then Rayleigh pulled up
Bo was
and
turning
scared the
people
shit
to
out of him.
stone and shit.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, Blackbeard forced him to like forced her to unpetrify his team, right? Right before Rayleigh pulled up.
Yeah, I mean you gotta like
So,
look up the scene again, but it's definitely better depicted in the anime that when Rayleigh showed up, Blackbeard was freaked the fuck out because he was deploying hockey at like full strength.
yeah, but that light versus dark battle, I need that. I need that, Chris.
You need
Light
it.
versus dark. Who?
Rayleigh is the Dark King,
Yeah.
so it'll be dark
Yeah, he's
versus
Dark
dark.
King.
It's like a double entendre. Listen, because Rayleigh has the light fruit, right?
Rayleigh does not have the light. fruit.
Rayleigh?
What?
And
Kizaru?
oh,
You mean?
Wow. Wow.
I completely forgot. Oh my god, because he fought Kizaru with the never mind.
That's a
I'm-
derp, Josh. I'm sorry.
Oh. Yeah, that should be two, but we're gonna just count that.
I'll
as one
I'll
just in
let you
case.
get off with one, but
Damn, I think I need time to recover, and if I have some more thoughts later, I'll chime in. Brian, what are your thoughts on this chapter?
Vegapunk is a fucking snitch. And you know what happens to snitches?
he's not snitching. What are you talking about?
He snitched on the Roger Pirates.
What do you mean?
already.
He said the Roger Pirates knew that the world was going to be sinking and shit.
Yeah, he told on them.
So
Yeah,
now
but he's
everybody's
about
gonna
to
be
be
pissed at
like-
the Roger Pirates.
But he did pose it as a question, so there's gonna be an answer.
Maybe.
He was saying like, yeah, they knew, but this is why.
This is why. This is why. This is why I'm hot. Hot. You hating because you not. All this, the more that this shit like gets explained, the more I'm like, why is the Revolutionary Army not here? Why are they not here? Dragon couldn't send a single person over here to this island during all this shit. This is their wheelhouse. This is exactly what they want. Why is Dragon not doing shit, bro? Come on. He's such a troll.
Well, he can't just walk into the middle of a Buster call. He's the most
Why
wanted
not?
man in the world. He's probably got the highest bounty in the verse.
And all the elders are there right now.
Mm-hmm.
Besides,
So-
I think
we could
Dragon
get there fast
understands
enough
that,
if we
like,
would.
I think Dragon understands that whatever at this point, as far as they've come, if he goes down, then the Revolutionary Army is not gonna last.
Hasn't Egghead only been like 1 day?
Yes,
Oh my god.
this has all been one crazy day.
Holy shit! What a morning.
Right?
In the morning, they ran into a tornado at sea, and then giant fucking mechanical monsters.
Then by
And now
2:33 p.m., they're fighting the strongest forces of the world government.
they had
Yeah,
no
pretty well.
idea.
Though this last panel with the fucking robot is pretty fucking fire. I'm not gonna lie.
The Iron Giant.
Is this the end game?
I think
It's
we're
the
getting
beginning
there.
of the end game.
No, I mean like giant robot battling. Like,
No,
is that what you think?
No.
You think
Well,
it's
maybe
gonna be like
actually.
Naruto?
well,
Wait a
it's,
second, it might be.
if it does
This
go
is like
giant robot fight, it'll be inevitably better than Naruto. I don't
that
care.
was a
I don't care.
biased
I don't care.
response.
IDC.
Yeah. IDC times 3. Wow. Wow. That's what a rare hyper biased pick from Chris, which I happen to believe 300% as well. That's how
There's no
100
bias
times
here.
true.
This is observed through fact.
Not the unbiased king, bro. You're looking like the unbiased Jack,
Mm.
or like a 10.
Mm. We shall see.
You know, on the cards.
We shall see.
Yeah, Rayleigh's the Dark King.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, Blackbeard don't want. He don't want no parts.
Yeah, he didn't want a problem at all.
I should run up on him right now.
Rayleigh knows. He's like, that's for Luffy. Luffy's got to take him down. He didn't kill my brother.
Blackbeard didn't kill his brother.
Well, you know, he set off a chain of events, and if he didn't do what he did,
Oh my god, that's not even fair.
it is fair.
So what?
He's
so
literally-
So he asked.
He may as well killed him himself. He handed him over to the government specifically to be executed.
Then Luffy should have beef with the person that gave birth to him. To truly.
That's
That
not
is what is
that's
that
not
for.
true.
Luffy probably does, to be honest, though.
I'm still jacking at the bird is the real leader of the whole of the
Morgan's.
five.
Morgan's.
I wonder what Morgan's fruit looks like
Morgan's?
awakened. Oh, the bird guy, the bird elder.
Bird.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Morgan's.
Yeah, you said the bird
Oh.
guy, and there's literally like just a guy who's just a bird.
No, I don't think Morgan's has the bird fruit. I think
He
it's
is a
just
fruit.
the
He
bird.
is a fruit user. He's just constantly in his
How do
beast
you
form.
know that? How do you know that?
I know that. He's just constantly in his beast form. He doesn't like go to his human form ever. He remains in that form.
I'm googling that shit.
Google it.
Yeah, sure. Let's see.
Google it, homie. Brian, what did you think while Josh
Yeah.
is Googling it?
Yeah, I was already like halfway through my thoughts.
Oh,
The Iron Giant is pretty cool looking. Love that. Let's see what else. Bro, I hate this Viz app so much. Oh, one thing.
I
That I
don't
didn't
know why.
get to talk about for the last chapter, the previous one. I thought it was interesting that they showed the fake kid pirates. And
Yeah,
doesn't that,
Damaro Black, who is
yeah,
now imitating
and
Kid.
I feel like that's a sign that Kid's gonna come back, right?
Yeah. I don't think Kid is
And
dead.
stronger.
It's like I
Because
said when it happened. I feel like both Law and Kid went through their Sabaody moment.
yeah, that was their Sabaody moment. Except Kid kind of went through several Sabaody moments, but
Yeah,
this
I mean,
was
you
their
know.
official Sabaody moment.
I mean, you gotta have. Sometimes some people go through several Sabaody moments, Brian. It's not just people develop at different paces. Sometimes,
This was definitely Laws for sure.
yeah, that was definitely for sure Law's Sabaody moment.
Big News Morgan is one of the emperors of the underworld.
Yeah, he runs an underground
He's
paper.
got to be strong.
I don't know how sanctioned his paper actually is. Like they work with him, but like he doesn't seem to be like on the best of terms with the government. He kind of does his own thing.
I think he's so big that they just loosely work with him, kind of in the sense of like how they work with the warlords.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because he's mostly, I mean, he's not. They control most of what he gets, most of the information he gets anyway. So he's relatively harmless unless something pops off and he gets to it before them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you were right. He is in his human beast form, and we've never seen him in his human form or his full beast form. And if he does awaken, oh, I bet you he'll talk a whole bunch of shit.
I really like Morgan's
Yeah, how
design,
about that
just as
today?
an aside. I don't know what it is.
It actually is really fucking cool. It is.
I just wonder if he's a
It's-
bird that ate the fruit or
No, he's
fruit
a
that-
person who ate the fruit.
So that means there's a
You sure it
human
wasn't a
version of him. There's
newspaper that ate the bird fruit?
I mean,
Wait a second.
I guess there's not unconfirmed. You know, anything could have eaten the bird fruit. But yeah, he is a person who ate. He's allegedly or assumingly he's a human being who ate the bird fruit, and there is a human form to Big News Morgans. But he is
They
just
probably made both
perpetually in
the,
his man
uh,
beast form.
bird fruit.
But anyway, that aside, should I give my thoughts? Are you all set, Brian?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I really like this chapter. I think this was my RGC. I don't know if we named any yet, but this one is mine. Anybody agree? Disagree?
Oh.
Just so I know.
Yeah, it's the best one.
Brian?
It is.
Nah.
Wow.
Certified RGC. Certified RGC. Certified
Whoa, what just happened there?
Certified RGC. Certified RGC. Certified RGC.
Yeah, it just stopped playing for a second. I had to rectify that. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I love this chapter. I'm just in a state of lore bliss right now.
Lore bliss.
I'm just getting so much lore right now. So good. I'm so here for it. What if the One Piece is just a
friends we made
giant,
along the way.
is just like a drain?
That would be great, actually.
And all they
As
need
long
to
as there's
do
one
to
hell of a
unsync,
metaphor behind it.
all they need to do is to unsync the world is to remove the stop gap or whatever they call that from the drain.
Which is all in one piece.
Yes. That's why Roger was laughing. He got there and he saw a giant fucking clogged drain that he wasn't strong enough to move. And that is why they were waiting for the next generation for someone to be strong enough to unclog this fucking drain.
like that's why he had some major LOLs.
Yes.
Like, oh man,
He said,
it
I
had to
can't
be
believe.
someone giant that did this shit.
He's like, I can't believe someone left this here. I can't unclog this
Luffy's
shit.
gonna pull that shit out easy.
Yeah.
He's gonna pull that out easy with his Looney Tune ass fucking powers. He's gonna have to go into the water if it's a drain.
Yeah. Oh, but I do have a more serious theory actually. Okay, so I think more now more than ever that One Piece is probably the society that was destroyed, or like remnants of the society that was destroyed by the world government. The one that Vegapunk was talking about with an advanced technology. And my guess is that the actual One Piece is really a piece of advanced technology that can only be operated by someone with the Nika fruit. And I don't know if it's like draining the world of its water, but preventing the world from sinking again, and being an ancient weapon that only Nika can operate to like destroy the weapons or something like that. I don't know. That's my half-baked theory. Is that it's a piece of technology,
Kind of like the shit from the Fantastic Four that they used against Galactus. Is that what his name is?
Yeah.
The neutralizer. What was that shit called?
Mm-hmm.
That little gadget.
Damn, I don't
The
remember.
nullifier.
Yeah. So that's my guess. I feel like
Yeah.
Vegapunk keeps bringing up an advanced technological society that existed before, because whatever can be used to counter the three ancient weapons is at Raftel.
Mm.
But I don't know. That's my dumb theory. We'll probably get more information that makes that not good. But that's my big
I have a very sober theory for what the One Piece is.
What?
And this is the only time I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna wait to the very end I'm not gonna theorize on it further, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that the conflict that's going on with the ancient weapons is separate from maybe not Raftel. Maybe there is some stuff like information there, of course. But I think the One Piece itself is just a picture of like Joy Boy, like with a crew of people like drinking or something like that. Or what is some type of joke, like with some type of like funny joke or saying,
Why'd the chicken cross the road?
yeah, like something like that. But I think it'll still be profound because it's gonna be at the end of that major conflict, and hopefully the world being saved and powers that be overthrown, et cetera, et cetera. It'll hit home.
Yeah. Maybe it's one of them giant popsicle sticks with a joke on him. Or like a giant Laffy Taffy wrapper that has a joke on it.
Yeah. Just don't forget, they got there and started laughing.
They did.
Come on, you know Oda. That's the whole flavor of this series. It's as serious as it is, it's still pretty chill.
Yeah. One Piece is off next week, by the way.
That's my thoughts about the One Piece. Mm.
It is unfortunately very much off this week, which
That bites.
it does fucking bite. It is not ideal. I don't like this development.
Mm-hmm.
But here
and
we
also after this week's chapter coming up for JJK, it's also going on a 2-week break.
What the hell? What the hell?
Because Gege is sick.
Yeah, I know we talked about it in the pre-show that like Jump is trying more than ever to take care of its manga artists, but like a little bit, get these guys in gear. Put the iron ups back on and start, No, I'm kidding, obviously. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, we want these guys to stay in business. We need to protect them. Protect them at all costs. But yeah, those are all my thoughts. I thought this was a great chapter. I'm very into it. Very excited to find out why the Roger Pirates didn't say anything. One thing I did want to mention though is that something about like Roger's line about "Don't rob the youngins of all the fun." Luffy said something similar when Rayleigh actually offered to tell them the truth. It was
What?
Luffy. Yeah, it was in the Sabaody archipelago when they first
Yeah,
met
he did.
Rayleigh and they were
then-
talking.
And then Luffy was like, "Fuck you, bitch."
Yeah, Usopp
Fuck
said
you.
Usopp asked for all the answers basically. He was just like, "Oh my god, so you know what the One Piece is? You know all this stuff, tell us." And then Luffy told him to stop because that would just take away the point of this whole adventure. He wanted to do this by himself. He wanted to like figure out all this stuff on his own and that he wouldn't go on a boring adventure. Which mirrors what Rayleigh here is saying, don't rob the youngins of all the fun. So, this was Luffy's ultimate vibe check from Rayleigh. And really, Luffy's just been passing vibe checks left and right. He is the ace of vibe checks.
Yeah. Undisputed.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody's ever passed as many vibe checks as him.
Yeah, Luffy is like the ultimate vibe check passer.
Yeah, all these OGs keep testing him, and then he just comes out with flying colors every time. I wish I was universally approved by the OGs.
You could be, Chris.
I don't know. I don't know if I'd be
You
able to
just gotta
pass
go on
that
the
many.
seas.
I don't know if I'd be able to pass that many vibe checks on my own.
That's why you won't be on your own. Josh is your first mate, and I'll be the
There's a second mate.
navigator.
There's such a thing as a second.
I'll be the navigator.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. All right. You guys ready to move on to the next
That's a
chapter? Oh, I'm
Yes,
sorry,
sir.
Josh. What did you say?
Yes. No, I said that's a solid unit. It makes me think about other things, but I'll save it for a pre-chat show.
All right. Sick. Well, all right. With that being said, that was One Piece. Let's move onward. My Hero Academia. This is My Hero Academia chapter 424, Epilogue. Now, last we left off, All for One was defeated. Shigaraki died for sure this time, so I guess we're going to give him one of these. I don't know if we actually gave him one of these when we initially talked about it, but it looks like he's gone. So
Can we get one for All for One finally? Because we gave him one before, but
yeah, let's do it again. He deserves multiple of these.
Nice.
all that.
Yeah.
Hold that.
You fucking psychopath.
Yeah. So we're starting off pretty much fresh. It's been some time since the battle has ended. We get a weather report from America saying that there's clear sunny skies across the country, and they're anticipating a week of stormy weather because it seems that Midoriya's last punch has altered the winds. Just like All Might's punch
Sick.
did back in the beginning of the series. And we see that American heroes have arrived onto the scene to help Japan rebuild. And in a week, they managed to make a considerable amount of progress. Everything's being repaired. All things are doing good. We cut to the hospital where Chicken Doctor is talking to Bakugo, saying that talking about how like before the advent of the exceptional restoration on a similar scale would have taken a decade, but with so many capable quirks devoted to the effort, it shouldn't be long before things won't ever be back to normal. Why would you word it like that? Or is someone
Well,
else
that's
is someone else saying this and he cuts
It's
off?
somebody else saying.
Okay,
It, yeah.
that's why.
yeah. He
okay.
cuts.
That
Yeah,
was-
the
okay.
chicken.
Yeah, it's like they're about to say that everything is going to be back to normal, but hey,
Yeah.
actually, it
Okay.
won't.
It won't. Okay, no, that makes sense. It's hard to tell because like there's no voice to identify the split. But okay. Chicken Man says the Bakugo won't ever be back to normal because although they did their best with their surgery, there was a number of bone segments and joints that had to be set, and he can't guarantee that any amount of rehabilitation will give Bakugo the use of his arms back. So, you know, if he's that determined, he can consider a prosthesis like Mirko, but Bakugo puts the kibosh on that because his quirk comes from the sweat that comes from his palms. So, you know, using a prosthetic wouldn't be good. So Bakugo's like, let's do the rehab. And the doctor's like, no, only low effort exercise for now. Bakugo's like, fuck. But, you know, there's also the problem of Bakugo's heart that it was stitched together by Edge Shot's body. So, you know, it's crazy that Bakugo even survived that. So, you know, he's like, chill. You're lucky to be alive, dog. We then cut over to Midoriya and All Might, who are sharing a hospital room. They're side by side in their beds, and they're talking to each other. You know, Midoriya's like, what are the odds that we end up side by side? And he was like, Tsukauchi actually made this happen. So, you know, they're short on rooms, and this makes it easier for the guards. And, you know, they said that they've never, apparently, there's never been so many bolts to cobble someone back together. But he asked Midoriya how he's feeling. And Midoriya explains that he's getting back some feeling in his arms and how he couldn't save Tenko, Shigaraki. Even after reaching his heart, Tenko remained the League of Villains to the very end, the leader of the League of Villains to the very end. And All Might is basically like, well, look, man, speaking as someone who went through a near-death experience, I want you to ask yourself, what was the look on his face in the end? And we get to see the continuing conversation that they were having before Shigaraki died, and where Midoriya mentioned that, Shigaraki prompted Midoriya to tell Spinner that to the end he tried to destroy everything, to which Midoriya said that it's already been destroyed. But Shigaraki says, well, that depends on what you people decide to do tomorrow. Make sure you do your damn best. So, you know, All Might said that assuming he didn't look like that crying kid, then you did save him. His soul, anyway. And you fulfilled your duty to One for All. So, you know, you passed it on. So, and he asked that, you know, you passed it on, right? I felt it happening. And Midoriya says that, yeah, but he can still feel the smoldering ember inside. And at that moment, that's when Bakugo bursts open the door. And he has overheard Midoriya saying that. And he's like, wait, the ember? And he's like, you mean you're quirkless again? And Midoriya's like, yeah, but, you know, I never had a quirk in the first place, so I can't be broken up too much about it. So, you know, all things good, all things considered. And Bakugo starts remembering all the stuff, you know, all the development they've had together for the most part. And he starts crying because, you know, he starts feeling sad because they were supposed to be competing and Bakugo was supposed to be on his heels for the rest of his life. And Midoriya's like, wait, no, stop. This isn't like you to be crying over me. And, you know, I still have the ember, so I have some of the quirk left. And All Might breaks in and says that the two of them have grown strong and that they're so different from the day they met. And he says, Midoriya, when I saw you diving into the fray that day, you were already a great hero as far as I was concerned. But now you're encouraging the world to get back up on his feet. Now you're a great hero to all of them. And he says that, and you made sure I'd still be around to say all these things. You hear that, Bakugo? To my pair of great heroes, I say thank you. So, they after that, they both smile, very happy. Um, we get like a little narration from Midoriya. He says, "When I was little, I thought that when the big battle was won, peace would be restored in the world, and peace would be restored to the world just like that. However, our tale doesn't end here. It can't. The fighting may be over, but until we lead the way to a bright future." And we get to the last page where Midoriya has a haircut because, that's where his bandages used to be. So he's all scarred up. And they probably had to like shave his head for, some kind of surgery of some sort.
Yeah.
And it says, we got to go further beyond. We get these little panels. I don't know what these little hardening things are. I don't remember. Do you guys remember what that is?
No, not at all.
I want to say that was Spinner. I remember Spinner having some kind of weird shell stuff happening with him, but I for the life of me can't remember.
Me neither, man.
I don't know. Brian, if you want to look that up and see what exactly that is in this page and come back to us before we get into our thoughts, or as we get into our thoughts. But yeah, that's where the chapter ends. Midoriya and the rest of the UA students arrive at UA, which is, I guess, currently under rebuilding. And yeah, that was My Hero Academia. Josh, what did you think about My Hero Academia chapter 424?
I thought this chapter was handled really well, regardless of
You're talking about these little
how I
fucking
feel
rocks?
overall.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
I don't think they explain what that is.
Those are some special stones.
Yeah.
Maybe it's airy horns.
I doubt it.
Maybe. I don't know. Deku looks pretty cool with the scar.
Yeah, he does.
Punish
Deku.
So does he make out with Uraka in the next chapter or not?
Are you asking, or are you trying to like preface the next chapter with that?
I'm asking.
We don't know. We haven't seen the next chapter
what do y'all
yet.
think?
Oh.
I'm in your opinion.
I think it's gonna be the last chapter, the actual last chapter.
I
Because
think the
Horikoshi
next
said he's gonna
chapter is
go
the
for
actual last.
a bit longer. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, he put out a statement saying that like series like this don't end just automatically after you beat the villain. So he's probably gonna
Yeah,
keep
I think
going for a
there's.
bit longer.
I don't know if it's gonna go very much longer. I think like it might go a handful of chapters longer. It's not gonna end right now. But yeah. I think we're definitely at the end though, but like this is
I'm
probably
happy to
just like
hear
a
that.
final little epilogue arc to cross any T's and dot any I's.
I'm glad everybody survived. I really like the message between Shigaraki and Midoriya at the end when he says like make sure to maintain, the bad parts of society we don't want to rebuild when rebuilding this one. I thought that was just, it wasn't too, it wasn't like overly mature for Shigaraki to say or against like his own values and morals. You know what I'm saying at all? It's not like he turned into a good guy towards the end and was like, yeah, bro, like I'm rooting for you. He just is
Yeah,
like,
at the end he
"All
still
right, you got
believed in
me."
his ideals, but he's trusting that Deku will actually make a change in the world that he hated. You know what I mean?
Right, because ultimately, yes, because ultimately he wanted the world to change, and he, chose to go about it in one of the most destructive ways possible. But I guess he was manipulated. That was crazy. But anyway, yeah, I thought that was a nice touch, and it was a nice reconciliation for the fact that All for One swooped in and resolved him for almost all his crimes. That mostly as a joke, but all right, those are my thoughts. Looking forward to the next chapter. Deku looks cool. Way cooler than when he was Dirty Deku, that's for sure.
Dirty Deku is. I still think that's such a funny nickname for it.
Yeah, weird. Ninja
Dirty
Overload.
Deku.
Brian, what were your thoughts?
I thought it was something that I've never seen in a shonen anime is making the hero of the story lose their powers like this. Maybe I'm bugging. Has that ever happened?
Wait, could you ask that again?
Like usually at the end of the series, the main character is like the strongest they've ever been, and they're the greatest of all time. But I don't know. I kind of like the idea of having Deku like not have powers anymore.
Full Metal Alchemist ends similarly.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, not usually does it end up this way.
Yeah, I feel like this is a very very Deku ending. It makes sense for him.
Yeah. Anything else? Was that it?
I know there was a lot of like conversation about that when it came to Deku online, where people were like, bro, this ain't my fucking Deku. This ain't my hero, bro. They're taking away his powers and he's happy about it. What? This is so stupid. But it makes sense for his character, you know? Like I feel like of all the people who would lose a quirk, Deku is probably the best person to like kind of lose it. You know what I mean? Because I feel like his power never really came from his quirks. It was how he used them. You know?
Well, like Deku never necessarily wanted a quirk. Like the quirk was like a means to an end. It was to allow him to be a hero. You know, make it easier for him to actually get into UA and be on a hero track. He wouldn't have been able to do it without a quirk, but he never his desire was never, oh, I want a quirk. His thing was like, I want to be a hero.
Yeah, but maybe now he'll be the first.
He will be.
Hero.
He'll continue to be a hero. I think he has like the unanimous respect of pretty much everybody in this verse.
I think I think what's going to end up happening is that there's not going to be a rank 1 hero anymore. It's going to be like Bakugo and Deku being the top hero. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be like duo heroes or some shit like that instead of just a solo kind of thing, you know? Because like All Might says it himself, like those two together, they make great heroes. Because they kind of complete each other.
Yeah, I think that's possible.
So maybe it's changing it from being more like a selfish to selfless kind of thought process when it comes to being heroes. But yeah, those are all my thoughts. That was the most interesting thing to me when it came to My Hero.
Yeah. I'm happy that My Hero is going to continue for a little while. I'm glad that it's going to take the time to kind of like get its ducks in a row before ending, you know, close off some open plot lines. There's a couple of hints here that's going to continue for some time. I don't know how long. I don't imagine it's going to be very long, but we've said that before and we were wrong. So, I think the scales are actually supposed to be spinner. That's my guess, but they're just removing the scales off of him that he had. But
yeah, that could be it.
There was a little panel of Uraka holding her stomach, so you know I feel like that's going to be built up upon because I believe she was stabbed in the stomach by Toga during their battle. So I think she lost something there. You know, something's wrong with her stomach or something.
I think it would be great if Spinner is the only survivor of the League of Villains.
Well, there are other survivors. They're just in jail. Like Compress is alive.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I am excited to see what happens. I'm seeing because like I think we talked about it in the pre-show about how My Hero Academia is partially or mostly about systemic I guess systemic failures, you know, in society in general. Obviously hyperbolized through like a hero society, but just the idea of like different facets of society being improved because of what the League of Villains suffered. And I imagine that like this story is going to be about how those things are resolved and what lasting changes the heroes make to adapt and make sure that they fix those societal cracks so like stuff like this doesn't happen again. I have no idea how like the system of heroes is going to be effective per se. I feel like they might abolish the like whole ranking system, but I also feel probably not, because I think there's a way to do it without, you know, incentivizing heroes to such a degree where, you know, they're not thinking of perception and all that stuff first. But I don't know. We'll have to see. I thought this chapter was pretty well written. I really liked the emotion that Bakugo showed here. It's very in line with his character. That, you know, he's really, when he got the whole story about Midoriya and One for All, he really started to warm up to him there and started to have more respect for him and saw that their dynamic could be just like them chasing each other and them, you know, bettering each other as heroes, which is in line with Bakugo. He's a very competitive guy, and you know, being a hero is what he cares about more than anything. And seeing Midoriya as a companion to that is honestly kind of touching. So
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
it's a nice moment. I really like Bakugo. If there's anything that's a crowning achievement for me in My Hero Academia, is Bakugo's character development. He's always been good at just slowly making, like, having characters transition into a higher version of themselves. So, and Bakugo is pretty much the prime example of that. He's come a long way. So it's nice to see.
Yeah. We love Bakugo in this house.
Yeah, we're a Bakugo family.
I'm just curious because like he got his awakening and became stronger than ever before, and now it's like they're all permanently fucking injured.
Yep.
So it's like, what is gonna happen? You know, like is Eri gonna kind of undo all that? Like, I feel like that'll be kind of lame.
I think she'll be able to do it for most heroes except for Midoriya. I don't think she'll be able to reverse the loss of One for All. But she might be able to heal Bakugo and, you know, the others. But I do agree that that might be lame, depending on how it works out. Because one of the main issues with shonen manga in general is like a lack of consequences.
Yeah.
So let's hope that My Hero Academia breaks the cycle a little bit. But yeah, those are all my thoughts, really. Were you about to say something, Josh?
No, I was agreeing.
Okay, cool. All right, are we ready to move on to the next series?
Yes, sir.
All right, then
Yep.
let's go. Jujutsu Kaisen. This is Jujutsu Kaisen chapter 261. Inhuman Makio Shinjuku Showdown part 33. What?
Just how many parts there is to this fight.
Yeah. This was last
33.
week's. This was last week's chapter. There was no Jujutsu Kaisen this week, so we decided to just cover the chapter before because it was pretty nuts. And yeah, last we left off, Todo returned. He was fighting alongside Itadori. They got a good one on him. Itadori was able to close the distance on him and basically shove his hand into Sukuna's fucking heart. And he's like, I'm gonna rip his fucking heart out. I'm gonna fucking fuck this guy up. I hate him. I'm gonna rip his heart out. And Sukuna initiates his domain expansion, but before he could really get it off, he saw a ghost of someone he buried himself, and we get the revelation that it is indeed Gojo, but with a twist. It's Gojo with the stitches on his head. And then and Sukuna's like,
Zombie
yo.
Joe.
Sukuna was really like, yo, I'm sorry I took you lightly. He said, I didn't think you were capable of doing that, Yuta Okotsu.
Look at his face. Ah!
Yeah, he was like,
Why
yo,
is he-
you crazy. So, pretty neat. We then get a big flashback explaining how this all went down. So, they were already like kind of thinking about this plan, the idea that Rika would devour Kenjaku, copy his curse technique, and then for transplanting brains, and then Yuta would go into Gojo's body and fight as Gojo. So at that point, they're like, wait, then to close off some plot holes potentially. We have Kusakabe asking, it's like, wait, can't we just copy the Limitless curse technique? And Ieri says, like, no, we need the Limitless. Using Limitless requires the 6 eyes. And he's like, why don't we just copy the 6 eyes? He's like, the 6 eyes aren't a curse technique. It's an inborn ability, so we can't copy it.
Kenkai.
It's a Kekkei Genkai. Remember when those were important?
Oh yeah.
Anyway, Maki explains that the copy technique will only last 5 minutes that Rika fully manifests. After the 5 minutes, what happens to Yuta then? And there's no real answer yet. Mei makes like 3 guesses, basically. 1, if it works constantly or at regular intervals, Yuta would be unable to sustain his body or soul, and he'll just die. Or if the curse technique functions irregularly, he won't die right away, but he'll die eventually. And the third one is that if the curse technique activates only once, then you'll be able to use Limitless for 5 minutes, and it's a possibility that after that you'll just be stuck in Gojo's body and lose your technique. So,
Yikes.
it doesn't look good. No matter what. So they're like, hey, this is going to be a last resort, though. Even if copy doesn't fully manifest, I can use it in my domain. First, I'll fight in my domain, and if I don't win, I'll take Gojo's body. So, Gojo, Maki's like, don't act like it's been decided, and Okotsu is just like, well, I'm pretty pissed off about it, and he's like, tactically, there's no way around it. Kusakabe is like, you're sure tactically, but is it ethical? And he's like, what does that even mean? He's like, we're taking on Sukuna, the greatest sorcerer in history. We shouldn't hesitate to abandon our humanity to win. Is becoming a monster really that scary? And they're like, nah, man, you're just too important to us. And he's like, what about Gojo? Wasn't he important? We always let him be the monster. Gojo, with Gojo gone, someone has to do it. If no one else has the guts, I'll be the monster. So, after
That's
that,
bold.
it seems to be decided, and Okotsu is following Gojo. I guess this is the moment, by the way, we reveal later. I think this is the moment that he kills all the elders. Like right before, like they're all just walking him over there.
And they're like, yo, like, we want to join you, especially Maki. She's like, I'm over these niggas. Okotsu,
Yeah.
they had a target on his back. Inukai is like, I haven't seen some action in a minute, so you know,
Yeah.
here.
But anyway, wait,
He's
he
like
explains that like, hey,
Shinji.
after you die, if you die, I'm gonna take over your body. And Gojo's like, and Gojo's like, why do you look so mad about it? And he's like, is something wrong? And he's like, no, I don't care. I don't plan on losing, but who cares what happens to your body after you die? It just bugs me that Ieri was like fine with it. And they talk a little bit about their family history, about how Okotsu has Fujiwara blood, but he's like, did you say Sugawara? And he's like, yeah, we're distant relatives technically, but weren't the Sugawara and Fujiwara at each other's throats? And maybe Uro was mistaken. Who knows? Who cares? I mean, like, what is this?
So it's about whose bloodline is more pure.
Oh,
At that
I see. Okay, that makes sense.
'Cause
Yeah,
that's what
then,
makes Gojo so powerful is that he is genetically the perfect person for Limitless.
right. And
And
Gojo
if-
explains here that, like, hey, what I'm saying is that you may have been born from a higher family than me. So if you don't succeed, it looks spectacularly bad.
Yeah, exactly.
So, they then pull up to, as Josh said, Maki is there, Inumaki's there, and so is Panda. And they're like, all right, everyone, scram. He's like, I know we're sorcerers, but I'd rather not expose students to a scene with excessive gore. Especially since I don't think this is the right way to handle this. But he says, even if I lose to Sukuna, as long as everybody in this room bites the dust, Old Man Gakuganji stands at the top of the true Jujutsu headquarters. So there won't be a mess like what happened after Shibuya. So he tells them to get going, and they say, no, we're staying. Stop trying to be a monster all by yourself. And Gojo goes away. He says, I can't do that. That day, I was left behind, so I have to catch up. And at that point, we fast forward.
Aw, he's
This
gonna
is funny.
massacre people.
I'm gonna kill these old guys. So we flash forward to when I guess Okotsu was destroyed by Sukuna. We learned that one kid's technique that we met at the beginning of the culling game, and it's to increase his sugar level and to transform it into physical form. So, but the drawback is that he gets hypoglycemic and he gets lightheaded, but he can ostensibly make desserts and sugary snacks. And Ieri asks if he can fuse another person with that sugar content, and he's like, yeah. And then he's like, cool. Then you'll be assisting me. You'll help compensate for the brain's expending all of its sugar while the curse technique is in use, but don't overdo it. Collapsing from elevated glucose levels would defeat the purpose. And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna help. And then he just sees Okotsu's dying body. And it's crunch time. They're doing the operation to transfer Gojo and Okotsu into Gojo's body. So, they start doing it. Ieri says, like, he tells Ieri that he's gonna do it and that he has no choice. And Ieri says that she's finished suturing Gojo's body. Once he transfers, use reverse technique at maximum to fully heal yourself. And they're about to do it. So we cut back to the present. Okotsu is in Gojo's body, and both him and Sukuna activate their domains at the exact same time. We get the narration saying that Gojo had already found the answer to Ryomen Sukuna's barrierless domain, and the chapter ends with a massive 2-page spread of both domains going off in a domain expansion clash. Very excited to talk about this. Josh, what did you think about Jujutsu Kaisen chapter 261?
Yeah, this was fucking crazy. One Piece beat it out, and also this beats out another series that I thought was incredible this week. But let me get straight to what I wanted to talk about, man. In the moment when he's talking to Maki and Nakotu and Inukai in the hallway as he's creeping up to massacre the Jujutsu power structure. He mentions how like that day he was left behind by Geto, and I guess it didn't occur to me until the second time reading this, but he I don't think he's like looking up to him as far as like the decisions he made. More so that like he understood something was fundamentally wrong with Jujutsu society, and he had his own method of dealing with it and what how he could really make the world a better place. Um, it made him a mass murderer, you know what I'm saying? But like he was willing to turn into that monster to really achieve what he felt needed to be done. And Gojo had been hesitant about that. If for no other reason, like and he's mentioned it before that he had like all of the connections with the students and all of that. He likes what was being built, but I guess all these recent events had thrown things into motion where it had to come to this, to him just taking them all out himself and pushing the new jujutsu sorcerers to new heights and hopefully to a future without Sukuna. So I thought that was Jujutsu Kaisen's writing has always been good, but it does have its moments like this that like aren't so obvious. Like it's not put out there, and made clear unless you kind of like paid a little bit of attention. Those are the best kind of series. They don't have to do it all the time, but it's nice when it happens.
Mhm.
Those are the real thoughts I have that stick out, I guess. I mean, I'm just gonna let y'all go crazy talking about this the elephant in the room, and then I'll interject. Brian, I want to hear
RGC.
your thoughts, man. Jujutsu Kaisen.
RGC.
Whoa.
Certified RGC. Certified RGC. Certified RGC.
So I feel like this is only a thing that only Jujutsu Kaisen can do. This is such an insane fucking plot. Um, man, where do I even start? I fucking love the idea of of Yuta jumping into Sukuna's body. I mean, not Sukuna. Um, into Gojo's body. I feel like it just makes sense, considering like this series was never about like who who's a big hero, who's gonna save the day. It's about whatever it takes at all costs. That's always been what it was from the start with the series. So having this kind of be like the peak of it, in my opinion, showing that man, these motherfuckers really, really mean it. They really want to beat this guy, so they'll do whatever it takes. I don't know. It was just really fucking sick. And the thought that this version of Gojo and Yuta is actually stronger than the actual Gojo is even more insane, considering the fact that Sukuna is like half, like he's not full strength at this moment. So I just wonder how much more he can take from this. Um and one thing that I'm kind of curious about is I just don't know if this is going to be enough to beat Sukuna again, because it kind of takes away from Yuji, doesn't it?
I don't think so.
I don't think he's going to win against this version of Sukuna, or at least like not immediately. Cuz I don't know, I feel like when does Yuji get his turn if Yuta wins this, you know?
Well, in my mind, I feel like both Okotsu and Itadori are like dual protagonists. I mean, the story technically starts with Okotsu. But
Technically.
I guess it just like depends on perspective.
I think my theory after reading this chapter is that Sukuna is going to create the merger and then he's going to fuse with the merger. That's what I think is going to happen.
Hmm.
Because then at least like Sukuna, like Yuta won't just get murked again in Gojo's body, and then everybody can participate in the fight because then it's a super mega fight. And then Megumi's gonna be there. It's gonna be Megumi, Yuta, and all of Gojo's pupils against Sukuna. I think that would be a great way to end the series, in my opinion. So that's where I think it's gonna end up.
Yeah, I don't know. Everybody's almost dead, except for
Hakari.
yeah, but you know, Sakari. Everybody else is
Sakari,
almost
yeah.
dead.
Might lose. He might lose to that ice chip. I run out of luck.
Yeah, he might lose to Uraume.
Uraume.
What were those? All
But
your
those are
thoughts?
my thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah, this is like a genuinely very interesting set of circumstances that I don't think anybody could have possibly predicted this is what was going to happen in this series. So this is just great. I don't know. Maybe for some reason I'm extremely biased towards the series, but people online are always like, man, fucking JJK is falling off. But I don't know. I feel like this is all pretty fucking good for an end game in a series, you know?
I mean,
Nobody
I
does it
agree.
like-
You know, I'm really enjoying.
Never
Jujutsu
seen
Kaisen.
anything like this.
Yeah, it's great. I don't know. I feel like the hype that Sukuna was is being paid off. I think, you know, this is just like a great final battle, which is like traditionally not been a great thing with shonen. Shonen tend to like falter towards the end because the author kind of nerfs their own villain to make a win more probable. But Gege has not really shied away from making Sukuna almost impossible to beat. Unless the
And it's because
characters,
that's how he is. That's who he is. So
yeah,
it
unless
doesn't
the
make
characters physically cheat, which is technically what they're doing right now. But you know, this is a series about like there's no honor in like there's no like particular I don't know about honor, but like I guess like compunction about taking these like wild risks to win, like wild cheating-esque risks to win. But yeah, I'm enjoying this a lot. I disqualified this chapter from my RGC thoughts just because it was from last week and we're technically doing it to fill Jujutsu Kaisen's void this week, but I don't mind it being an RGC. I thought it was great. I thought, you know, the explanation for how they got here was cool. It makes sense. It doesn't feel like an ass pull. These are all things that are established. Amai's technique, we didn't know, but like it's such a minor thing that it's not like really a big deal. Yeah, I think it's just all sound. I do love walking and talking right before a massacre like that. It's like you're not about to just murder a bunch of old dudes. But
It was so like
casual. It was like
no, like the word like it was startling because like I didn't like they just was having this conversation and then oh yeah, by the way, I'm about to kill these people. And I did not see it coming at all.
sense.
yeah.
Only in a series like Jujutsu Kaisen.
It would have been nice to see them. Like, I wonder if they put up a fight, or if they even tried to fight him.
I doubt it. I doubt they were able to.
Like, are those guys even strong? Like, can they actually even fight?
Clearly not, because he came out of that unscathed.
Yeah, but he's Gojo.
Like, it
so-
didn't even seem to be a problem for him, so probably not.
But yeah, those are my thoughts.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I thought this was awesome. The Okotsu twist of him taking over Gojo's body. I don't know how that's going to turn out. If he's just going to be Gojo now, if he's going to die after this, and finally be reunited with Rika. I don't know. Maybe that's what's going to happen.
Definitely.
Yeah. But yeah, those are really my thoughts. It's been mostly like a supplementary chapter to get to us to where we are. I can't wait to see how this domain thing goes on, because this is a different type of malevolent shrine, and it's not a full force one. And this malevolent shrine was really only a thing to allow Sukuna to use divine flame. So I don't know. I'm here for it.
Right, it was a joke home.
But yeah.
It was a half-assed weirdo one.
Oh, what?
A half-assed weirdo one.
I read somewhere someone called it the malfunctioning shrine, which is pretty good.
That's pretty good. I approve.
Yeah. All right. Without further ado, that's all I got to say. I suppose we can move on. Yeah.
Yep.
Then let's go.
Fi meg pick ned i det kjære meg som jeg kan chat.
Kagurabachi. And with that, I'm going to pass this one over to Charge.
Yo. Give me a second for my thing to load because it likes to lag when it does that. Kagurabachi. Chapter number 208. Preparation period. They put Rakuzaichi before 208, but think that is not the chapter number.
No, that is not the
I
chapter
am
title.
Correct.
That is the 208th
That
Rakuzaichi.
number is just assumed.
Come
Yes,
on.
that makes way more sense.
Come
Made
on,
way more sense. Yeah, this is actually chapter 35, Cage. Last chapter, there was some pretty significant scraps going down. The teleport dude smoked all the four elite members of the Sorcerer clan. He made quick work of them, but one of the guys had a comeback X Factor, and where he sacrifices his life for the sake of his clan, and he's scrapping off with the teleportation guy. But that was last week. Right now, there's a flashback, including Hakari. Yeah, and one of the
I think it's Haruki.
Haruki, thank you. Haruki, and
Or
his
Hakuri, I don't know, someone. Sorry.
and his interactions with a slave girl that they've captured. So, Haruki, this is August of this year. Oh, that was that same year. Okay, while they was preparing for the Rakuzauchi. Makes sense. So, he pulls up to one of their human captures, and it turns out to be this little girl that has an interesting ability to just create ice like on her skin, and I guess like make everything around her cold. She looks like a when you open the door to the refrigerator or like the freezer on a hot day, and yeah, that's like her continuously. Anyway, Haruki is like, listen, I'm here to make sure that you stay alive. I'm gonna feed you. If you get sick, I'm gonna make sure you're good because you're merchandise, and I need to keep you good for the Rakuzauchi in a few months because that's my duty. And she's like, all right, but did you eat with me? And he thinks she's a weird girl, but she's just like, look, I like company when I eat. So I guess that goes on for a couple days. And at one point, while they're eating together, she notices that Haruki has like a fucked up like finger and she tells him that, oh, like, you know, my brothers and other siblings like bully me and shit, but this time he used the tool, and you know, he don't usually use tools, but he's always losing things. This is a really weird statement, but his brother abuses him with weird random tools and then decides not to use them anymore, and then he goes back to just beating him up with his hands. Really rough stuff. And the girl's sympathizing with him. She's like, damn, that's fucked up. Let me tend to your wounds and keep it cold. So, you know, uh she she makes an observation and says, oh, like I can tell like they don't fuck with you. And part of that is because they keep sending you to look after me. There's probably nothing better for you to do. And she says how, like, you know, that they're both the same, they're both rejects. And he's like, man, fuck out of here. You're just trying to like trick me. And she's like, yeah, I am trying to smooth up with you to get out of this shit. But she really does feel for him. She's like, look, like, well, later on she gives him some more information. But Haruki starts basically explaining to her that like, even though like his family bullies him, you know, it's really his fault. You know, he's internalizing like, you know, his faults as like completely up to him, and that, you know, that it validates why they treat him that way, and like that's just what he accepts. So, you know, he tells her to please continue to eat so she doesn't get sick, because she's merchandise, of course. So keeps going on. He keeps getting abused by his family, and she keeps tending to his wounds with her cold skin. And you know, they form a little bond. But one day they beat the shit out of him. He comes like looking like way more wrecked than usual. And she's like, "Yo, what happened?" He says, "Nothing. It just went on longer than usual." What the fuck? That's how he was able to take that flame bone punch. It all makes sense now. Anyway, he's like, look, intake is tomorrow. This is your last meal. Just go on and eat it. All right. And let me sob in the corner to myself. She's like, yo, like, why do you take this shit? And he's like, yo, because I said I fucking deserve it. All right. I can't do nothing. I don't know how to bust an ESO. I ain't special. The Sazanami clan don't even need me. My dad doesn't look at me ever. He never looks me in the eyes. And she's like, yeah, you poor thing. It seems like you're the one that's in a cage. So she says, you talk with me. Thanks to you, I've enjoyed these meals. So the next day comes, and he comes to take her out, like to move her. And he's like, yo, actually, instead of moving you to that warehouse, I'm going to move you out to freedom. Yeah. So she's like, oh, you had to change your heart? And he's like, yep, 100%. So we abruptly flash back to the fight going down with his brother when he said he would stand up to him. His older brother that abuses him with pliers and stuff, by the way. And like we all probably predicted, got fucking destroyed.
Yeah.
His big brother bust a Super XL ESO, and probably broke every bone in Haruki's body. Probably shattered his pride as well, more than into tinier pieces than it was already in. And he starts telling him that shit, like, you don't even know sorcery like that, right? But the fact that you keep trying hard, that's not adorable, bro. So you either gonna be adorable, or I'm gonna fucking kill you. And it's looking like I'm gonna try to kill you while you're still lovable. He's you know, grade A psycho. Not like all for one, but he's like maybe
He's
a
up
tier
there.
below. He's up there. Pretty twisted. So then we flash back to the flashback, right? Of him letting her out the cage, and she finds a knife. She's like, I found it, must be merchandise, right? And she puts it up to her neck, and she's like, look, I want to get out my cell. I'm sorry for using you, but you refused to let me starve. From the beginning, I wanted to die. There's no point in living with skin like this. And Haruki's trying to say, nah, like, you was helping me out. You can do good things with your skin. She's like, nah. Like, the last person, you know, I fell in love with and had a relationship with told me that, and then they got tired of my ass and sold me to y'all niggas. So I'm over this shit. Like, I just want to get up out this cage. And Haruki's trying to tell her to wait, but she slits her own throat. Really tough.
Jeez.
God damn.
And he says to himself, I killed her. And then he thinks to himself, as he remembers what she said, I'm sorry for using you. He says, well then, was everything you said to me a bunch of lies? As his brother puts on the finishing touch for the final Iso. And this one had 2 circles to it. It's got to mean something.
Yeah, it hit extra hard.
2 sonic booms. Yeah. So he walks away like, all right, finished you. And he's crying. And then he looks back because he notices that he notices that the pliers that he uses to abuse Haruki's fingers and probably other appendages. Weird. He noticed that it was tossed. Then he looks back to Haruki and sees that his eye starts to power up with that Sazanami clan stuff. And that's the end of the chapter. Ooh, that was Kagurabachi.
Damn.
Brian, what were your thoughts on this series this week?
That was a heavy ass chapter. Jesus. I don't even know where to start. That was a brutal fucking chapter to read. This kid has been through some real fucked up shit. God, like, man, I just this guy Haruki is gonna get a fucking trauma power up right now. That's how fucked his past was.
I'm for it.
I think this is really interesting. You know, it's like, is this kind of like My Hero Academia-esque kind of darkness? You know what I mean?
I think it's a little darker than My Hero.
Yeah, like this is.
I would agree.
This is like abuse, suicide, fucking like human trafficking. All this shit is happening within like such a short period of time in this series. It's honestly fucking mind-boggling to me that that this series has so much going on in it. You know what I mean? Like, such intimate story writing, such compelling and such dark and so personal. It's so like it's so unique to Jump, in my opinion. Like, there's just not a series that starts like this, or that has this much development for characters, especially like side characters like Hakuri, who literally was just introduced like maybe 10 chapters ago. It's honestly insane. Like, this series takes things to like levels that I never expect from not tenured mangaka, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I just hope that this series sticks around for a long time and he continues to be able to do what he loves, and make fucking incredible manga, because this guy, if you're not reading Kagurabachi, you're missing out. This is an incredible series. And I'm genuinely impressed every time I read it. So those are my thoughts. I'm really excited to see next week what happens with Hakuri.
Yeah. No, I
And
mean, I
get
fully
over
agree.
it.
This was depressing. I didn't expect her to like end her life after that. That was very sad.
Yeah, it's just so dark.
Yeah, definitely one of the darkest things I've seen.
really, Chris?
I didn't want to do it, but those are the rules. I don't
Damn
know.
you, Kagurabachi, for making me do this.
This is Kagurabachi's fault. I mean, frankly, I'm but a king. I must enforce the laws.
You're such a
As-
dick.
I don't know what you want from me. I did
That
my.
is so fucked
I
up.
had to do it. I mean, I'm sorry.
Cold-blooded.
Such is the position I carry as holder of
I ain't gonna
soundboard.
lie. I'm gonna jump in real quick and just say that we seen somebody in the cell towards the start of this Rakuzauchi. I don't think she's dead. I think
We did see somebody. It's not her, but maybe it was her. I don't know if you want to go back and look, but
Can't tell. I think it was a guy. I'm gonna go back. But you can continue to give your thoughts.
yeah, no, it was definitely like very sad, and I didn't expect it to go this way at all. I mean, I guess like I don't know what else I could have expected. Usually, when it's a flashback between a character and a character we don't see around, and it's a sad backstory, it means that the other person involved is dead. But I guess I figured that if anything, she'd probably be killed by someone else. But yeah, definitely powerful. Just like the only person that he could confide in, and the only person who really treated him like an equal.
A human being.
Mm-hmm. Hakuri kind of reminds me of Sanji. This feels like a lot of Sanji's backstory. I'm not saying that he stole this idea, but I think like it's very parallel. Because Sanji also had like a similar upbringing where he was bullied by his family and abused for not being strong enough. And he would bring someone food.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is very Sanji like. Yeah, that makes sense.
it just occurred to me. I was like, well, this sounds a lot like Sanji. But yeah, it's very interesting. That 2-page spread where this guy like annihilated Hakuri was kind of wild. I really liked this panel.
Yeah, pretty brutal.
Yeah.
This whole chapter is just
Yeah, just like, ugh,
brutality.
ow, my heart, my feelings. But his eye is doing a black fire thing, and he's gonna get he's got to get back. He's got to get his get back here. He can't let it end this way. He said, I can't let that slide. I'm gonna throw this wrench I got out of nowhere. But I'm excited for what happens next. Those are pretty much all my thoughts. I thought this was like a really well written, sad fucking chapter. Depressing as hell for no reason. But yeah. Do we have any rebuttals, or should we move on to our final?
Wait, did Josh cover it?
I gotta
Oh,
give
did
my
you? I'm
thoughts.
sorry. I thought my bad. Josh, what did you
Okay.
think? I'm screwed up.
I mean, I've been looking for that previous chapter, but there's a few options of who the person could be aside from that girl. She might really be dead. I think that would be more effective anyway in a point that they're trying to get across, which is what I'll comment on. I think it's important that the girl towards the end, she says, "I'm sorry I used you," and like she didn't trust him. She was already at a point in her life where she felt like no one is ever gonna really like have my back and look out for me. I'm gonna constantly be hunted and made made an outcast. So for her to make that decision to kill herself, I think that was really I think not courageous isn't the word maybe, but I thought that was bold. I thought it was really bold for him to make this like this kind of one shot flashback to give Haruki you know, a little bit more character depth, no doubt, which is nice. But like this really was kind of a story into itself that should comment on the fact that like regardless of the cute little situation they had, she was a fucking slave, you know, like she was a captive. She wasn't, you know what I'm saying? She was there against her will. And I think, you know, that's it's nice that with Haruki, you know, had he had talent, he might have been just as bad as his brothers, you
Yeah.
know? But because he didn't, he was allowed to see things through a different lens and have empathy for like you know, people other than the whatever the name of their clan is. I forgot already.
I forgot their name too.
Suzanari? No, that's a World
No,
Trigger
that's
character.
World Trigger.
Yeah.
It sounds right though. Hold on, let me look it up.
Yeah, I get it. The Sorcerer clan, the Kamunabi. No, that's a different Kagurabachi one. Whatever. I don't want to lose my train of thought. That's,
Sazanami.
you know, so yeah, Sazanami. Thanks. So like this was like really, this is good writing. Like this is just great writing, honestly, because this is why he's different from the rest of like them. It's not that he was born different. He was born with a righteous heart or something like that. His condition led him to this situation that unlocked empathy and would led him to go, you know, fighting back against his family. It's not that he was just a traitor. He truly feels like, nah, this is wrong. Like, and I think that was done really well with just this flashback. You know, this is called doing the work, and it was done artfully well because I felt so much empathy for the girl. It hit me, and like we all mentioned, not a single one of us seen that coming, and not because it's so like out of the ordinary, but because of the pacing of it and the pacing of the series, the way they squeezed this in real quick, like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is a very like in-depth form of character development through another person and their experience. I think I've said what I could say about that. I wanted to give this the RGC, but you know, One Piece and even Jujutsu Kaisen were just a
JJK,
bit
yeah.
better. They just were a bit better. And I mean, you know, how can you beat One Piece lore bliss?
Yeah.
Only World Trigger stands a chance. I'm sorry. I'm biased. There's no issue with me admitting that. You feel me? I really enjoy World Trigger. So I'll really admit it. Like, that's the only thing that's fucking with One Piece lore.
Yeah. I mean, one
Like,
thing that
know?
I thought about, it's tough on newer series to beat out the older ones because we're so like invested in so many of the things that have been going in the older series that once we start getting lore drops for any of them, it's kind of hard for these new guys to kind of like hurdle over it. It's a history element, I think. But are we good for Kagurabachi? Any rebuttals or anything?
Yeah.
All right. Then let's.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, okay. Let's move onward.
Yeah.
Undead Unluck. I haven't heard that one in a long
I
time.
remember that one. Oh, we haven't heard that drop in a minute.
Mhm.
Okay, Undead Unluck. Chapter number 208. I don't know the title yet. It wasn't in the beginning.
Jeez.
So last week they get to the point. A few of the union members split off to do different quests, and the one that Fuko's doing right now just so happens to have her meeting her mom in the while they're pursuing another negator that's like an idol. And apparently her mom is an idol that works with her. So she's about to go meet her, and it's a pretty big deal because she hasn't seen her mom since both her parents died on that plane crash when her negator ability manifested. So and she hasn't seen her in millions of years technically. Whoa. Billions. Whoa.
Whoa.
Oh,
It's just like I'm just thinking
Whoa.
about like she was really alive that long? No. That's wrong.
Whoa.
No, I'm really blown away, guys. I'm not being sarcastic.
no, I know.
So, I'm having a moment. All right. Anyway, look. Admittedly, this has the feel of a slice of life chapter. So, I'm gonna kind of skim through it for the most part. I'm not gonna get into detail of what every character is saying. Just gonna give y'all some vibes. But Fuko's out there with Julia, Julista. I forget how to say it. I think it's Julia, right?
Yeah, I think it's Julia.
She's out there with Julia, which is injustice. She's out there with Nico. No, not Nico. Fucking Top. No, not
Sean.
Top. God damn, I forgot his fucking name.
I think his name is
already.
Sean.
Sean? Yeah, I think Sean. So he's all down in the dumps because when in the previous arc when Fang got his points, when Fang had to get points and a table given to him to enter the fight and join the quest, she took that seat away from Sean. So he's all sad and shit about it. She's like, look, like we needed everybody else at that moment. Like, it just so happened that we didn't need you then. But it's all good. It turns around because it gets to a point. I mean, he finds out that this mission involves going to see idols and being around them, which he's super psyched about. And that ultimately she's relying on him, to deal with seeing her mom, which she has incredible anxiety about. So he feels good about that. So they pull up on her mom, and she's a maid, and like at a maid cafe working with the maid outfit on. Typical. And she's just like, wow, is that really my fucking mother? And as she's walking towards Fuko, she drops like these pitchers of water she has like by accident, and it spills all over the Fuko and
It's
so,
such a
wow, what
dramatic
fucking
fall.
klutz. Yeah, it's a super dramatic fall. And the crazy thing is, all three of them look at her like in a very like interested way. Not in like a shock, like, oh shit, like we just got water dropped on us, but like kind of like in an uncanny way. We'll get into that later. Foreshadowing. So she goes and runs to get the towels. And he's like, yo, like, you keep fucking up, bro. So anyway, she recognizes Fuko. She's like, oh, that face, it looks familiar. And then someone else walks in, so she goes to greet them. So her attention is taken away from Fuko. And when she goes to greet the person coming in, she ends up tripping and does the most fucking dramatic. Bro, she trips and almost falls on the dude, and he blocks the water with a handkerchief in his shirt and then catches her in his arms. And he reacted straight off of impulse, as Sean mentioned. But he didn't, he missed out on the one plate and it hit his head. So, yeah, she's a super klutz. And, I guess it's implied that these are basically like Fuko's mom and dad right here.
Mm-hmm.
They're not, I don't think they're dating yet, though. They're just like friends and shit. So, Fuko's commenting about how, like, it feels so strange that she only knows her, like, as her mother, but she's reminded that there was a time when my mother wasn't my mother, which really made me think about that as well. Like, yeah, like, our parents were people just like us. Like,
Yeah.
before, I guess, like, You know, I've already kind of reflected on something like that
Yeah,
in my
obviously.
life.
Yeah, definitely.
Because we're grown,
Yeah.
we already kind of understand the sacrifices made and what it really means to
Yeah,
love
it's
and
just
care
kind
about
of a
someone, blah
thing
blah
that
blah.
reoccurs to you.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's not mommy, that's fucking Miss Jones. Anyway, um, oh, Sean's just trying to make her feel comfortable about seeing her mom. Like, look, like Nico sent you here for a reason, right? Like this time is not going to present itself. And Fugo says that it could create a time paradox, which I was interested in too because meeting your daughter before she was even born, weird. So like nah, bro. She that Sean is like that only applies to time travel. News to me. I guess he's an expert. You can call him Booster Gold, right? So he's like, there shouldn't be issues. You're good. Just go talk to your mom. Stop being so shy. So she overhears her mom having a conversation with her eventual dad, and she's like, "Oh, I know I gave you a ticket to the upcoming festival, but I don't think I'll be performing." And they're like, "What?" And she's like, "Oh, the thing is, everyone in my backing band had to pull out for one reason or another, illness, broken bones, etc. Isn't that?" And everyone's like, "Damn, isn't that way too unlucky?" Yeah, sure fucking is. And they're like, "Yeah, that's terrible news." And she says how she's been holding emergency auditions for replacements, but in the middle of that conversation, we noticed that Fugo's hand is starting to go invisible, and they're like, "Hey, are you starting to fade?" And she's like, "Oh, but," and Sean notices that Unseen's not active, so like, why is it happening? And Fugo starts putting two and two together and says, "Crap." So, Fuko remembers a conversation from when she was a child. They have a slight little flashback. She's like, "Oh, when did you and mom get married?" And she's like, "Oh, like when did we start dating?" And it was when your dad. She said when I went with your dad to hear his favorite girl sing. So she says, "Does that mean dad loved you over that person, mom?" She was. It was cute kid stuff, but she's basically starting to understand that like like that like basically her birth hinges on this festival. Like if this festival doesn't happen, like she's not going to be born. Time paradox bullshit. And so Fugo's like, "Yo, listen, about those auditions for your band, tell me more." So Fuko starts hitting everybody up. She's like, "Look, I know we all on our way of missions, but I need y'all to help me out. We need to put together a whole fucking band with the union members right this second. Because if y'all don't, I'm gonna die." And that's the end of the chapter. Oh, we got a really fucking sick 2-page spread, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the pictures of all the characters, but okay. Brian, what were your thoughts on Undead Unluck? From what you heard from what I was saying.
Man,
If anything
was-
that stuck out potentially.
I was like, whoa.
When I did
you know,
Woe,
yeah.
when I
Like
did the Woe too,
I was like, there's no way that she was there for that long.
for like over 8 billion years.
Yeah, that's a long time. That's like almost
You
a
understand
dinosaur.
how long 8 billion years is?
Yeah, it's like, like dinosaur
That's
status.
way before the dinosaurs. I'm talking about before the Earth was formed.
Yeah, like damn, like that's a long time ago, bro. Like I was like shocked. I was like, no way. RGC.
You couldn't count to 1 billion in your lifetime if you started right now.
What if we split the work?
I don't know. You probably could count to 1 billion, but it's a lot.
Yeah, if like
It'll take
like
mad
between
long.
the three of us?
It's like years.
Between the three of us? Like we work in shifts.
If you're like one, if you just count it, if you like, how many seconds is a billion? How many years is a billion seconds? That's what I need to look up right now.
How many?
I guess
hold
while
on,
I'm looking
I'll look
that
it
up, Chris
I'll
can
look
give
it
his
up.
thoughts. Okay.
Yeah.
So while
How
Brian
many
is looking
years
that
is
up,
a
Chris can give
billion
his-
seconds?
Anyway,
No.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this chapter. I am happy for this change of pace. I was
31 years.
31 years. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Guys,
Yeah,
I think
that's
I've been
pretty
alive
wild.
for just over a billion seconds.
So, fun fact: if you counted $1 at a pace of $1 per second, it would take you 31 years if you did it straight, nonstop, without ever stopping, to count $1 billion
Jeez.
with singles, and
Yeah.
people make that much money.
Yeah.
Weird.
Weird. But
Weird.
anyway, like I was saying, I'm enjoying this change of pace. I wasn't like super crazy about the last arc, but I really love this introduction to the arc. I really like that Fuko's mom was so dramatically unlucky. I don't know if it's because she had unluck, but I don't think that's possible because when Fuko talks to the previous members of Unluck, her mom wasn't among them. So I think she's just generally unlucky. Or maybe Fuko's powers are affecting them from a distance because, you know, she loves her parents so much. Like to such a degree.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, but I really like this. I love that her dad is just a guy who is always prepared to deal with her clumsiness. That is the most absorbent towel I've ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah, one of those squeegees. Remember? Those yellow.
You got a
from the
ShamWow in
infomercial?
there.
ShamWow, that's what it was. Yeah, you put up the ShamWow. Nice pull.
But yeah, I thought that was like a really sweet moment. It did make me laugh whenever Fuko's mom fell because she was it would be the most dramatic fucking falls on the planet. And I love how this morphed into some kind of Back to the Future type story where she's just trying to prevent herself from not being born. But yeah, I thought it was a funny chapter. I really enjoyed it. It made me laugh. I'm excited to see how this goes. I'm sure this is going to be very touching and very emotional, but I'm here for it. Josh, what did you think?
Well, I had the thought at first that Fuko was fading because her mom was like took on the unluck role because Fuko doesn't exist in this loop, and because she started getting in contact with her, like she started adopting it because the dad, well, you know, I'll just say her dad for you know,
Yeah, it's her dad.
her dad, you know, was prepared to deal with her clumsiness, and the dude and the dad and her boss was talking about how like, oh, like I keep telling you to take him out one at it, basically like, oh, it's happened before. So something's happening here. It like Fuko could be putting her unluck on them, but it's just her mom, and then like the troop members were unlucky too. Like, I think it. I don't know, yo. I think it has more to do than this event not happening.
Mm.
This is gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
This is gonna be crazy. I don't know. I think there's gonna be a lot of depth to this. This looks like a lighthearted arc, but I think it's gonna be really deep towards the end.
No, I agree.
But Undead Unluck always is.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big deal. This is Fuko's parents. We've never met them, and they were killed off screen in the beginning. So I'm sure this is going to be a tearjerker in a sense. But were those all your thoughts?
I guess those are all my thoughts. Yeah.
Sick. Well, that was Undead Unluck, and that has been our show. Thank you guys so much for listening. As per usual, you can find me at the Chris Espinal on Twitter and Instagram. Josh is at JDCole_37 on Instagram, at New Jump City Josh on Twitter. Brian is at b.esp on Twitter and Instagram. Follow the show itself at New Jump City on Twitter and Instagram. Email us at newjumpcitypod@gmail.com with any questions, suggestions, anything you guys want us to talk about, and we will cover it on our pre-show chat show that we do. Subscribe to us on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, YouTube. Please do like, share, subscribe on that. Comment your thoughts on that as well. It really helps us out for the algorithm. And yeah, thank you guys so much. We appreciate your patience. We're back. We should be good for the next few weeks. And we will see you guys next week. Stay safe, New Jump citizens.
Bye.